Singing Señorita. I am Cammie Flanagan. I have been teaching Spanish for 21 years, and I finally decided to start making YouTube videos just to share with other teachers some of the things that I do in my classroom, and hopefully it will give you some ideas of things that you can do in your classroom, because I've learned so much from other teachers. So what I want to talk about today is increasing student participation. I don't know about you, but I hate those times when you ask a question and crickets. Nobody wants to answer. So over the years, I've developed a lot of ways to keep that from happening, because I just don't want to call on the students when they don't want to volunteer, although I will and I do. But some of these things I've been doing my entire career. Other things are new additions, so I'm just gonna share those with you. So one of the first things that I particularly love, I did a student observation when I was in college, and I observed this Spanish teacher, and she had these little pesos, and the kids would get excited about them. And I thought it was the neatest thing, because I never had pesos when I was in Spanish. Come on now. But you can see they're really, really tiny. But she would give them out for different things that they did in class. So what I typically do now is I start out with these. So in the beginning of the year, for the first week or so, I'm just trying to get the kids involved, and they feel like they're getting paid to speak Spanish. So I give them these just to get the ball rolling, get them into doing the things that we do in class and speaking in Spanish and volunteering. And I always keep them handy because I still use them now. But I put them in this really cool lanyard that has a place for your ID, and then I just tuck them in there, and this, of course, goes around your neck. Even has a place for a phone. It stretches. This is the coolest little thing. I love this. But it's a great place to keep my pesos, so I still give them out if kids do like something that's out of the ordinary, just not answering. But if I hear them speaking in Spanish, or just do something nice for somebody, I still give them these. Or if they win games, I still give them these. So pesos are still very much a part of my class, but in the first 2 weeks, it's one of the main things to get them to volunteer because they're fun. Then I announced 2 weeks in, okay, pesos are going to be used for other things now, and I began to introduce the stamp sheet. So this is a more recent thing. So let me let you get a look at it. Oh, there you go. So what it is in 5-point increments. It goes all the way down to 100. So this is a big grade, a 100-point daily grade for them. And so as they answer, I have a stamp, which this one I just ordered off of Amazon, and it is personalized. It says, Señorita Flanagan thinks you rock. So what I do is each time that they answer, I simply just stamp. And they get to rack up the points. So they are in total control of what their participation grade is with this sheet. And I love it. I just recently, I was using the pesos, and then I announced, okay, today we are switching over to that stamp sheet. Oh my goodness, the hands that went up, like 80% of the hands went up. First question, I'm like, I love this thing. This is amazing. So that between those two, I get a lot of participation. Now the other ones are not major ones that I use in class, but they are important ones. One of those is my roster. So I always have my roster up front with me. And I have certain procedures that I am very, very diligent to check. One of those is the warm-up. I have a little timer. When the bell rings, I go straight to the board. I click that timer. They got 1 minute to get started. Not to get finished, but to get started working on their warm-up, because every moment in the Spanish class is precious, because I have 50 minutes to teach you Spanish and to get it drilled into your head 5 days a week. That is not a lot of time. So every moment is precious to me. So those first 5 minutes, we need to get started in that first minute so that we can get the warm-up done in at least 5 minutes. So it doesn't take us 10 to 15 minutes for everybody to get on the ball. So that is one of the ways that they lose participation. If it is 1 minute into the class and they still don't have their notebook out, no pencil in their hand, not even trying to get started, yeah, you're losing your participation points. But I also use it when there are certain segments of the class that they're supposed to be practicing with each other. If they're not, if they're talking about other things and they're off task, they lose that participation point. If they're supposed to be working or reading and they're not, take off the participation points. So they know that this one is more, this is more of what they're not doing, really, more than what they are doing. So I have it on both ends. For the most part, the pesos and the stamp sheet are what I use. I don't have to really take off a lot of points on the roster, just because most students, once I've trained them in those first 2 weeks to do what they're supposed to do, most of them will follow along. But the way that I set it up, the students know that over a 2-week period, they get 20 points for that participation. So each day is going to be like 2 points. If I mark on here, then they lose 1 point for that day. If I mark twice, they lose 2 points. Now, if I mark it 3 times, then we're going to have a talk. But that typically doesn't happen. Once I tell them once, they usually get on the ball. And then the last way that I increase participation, I have a box with index cards with every one of their names on it. And usually at the beginning of a class, we go over the vocabulary because it's very quick and efficient. I have it up on Quizlet on the board where everybody can see it. And I go through those questions super, super fast. Sometimes I'll ask it in a full sentence. Sometimes I'll ask it just a word. But we get it done really fast because I go through the cards. And that's how I make sure right there that I have 100% participation is I go through everybody's name right there in the beginning of class. So that assures that everybody has said something in that class period, even if that's the only thing they say. And then later on in the class, I'll use it for different activities. One of the activities that I also like to increase student participation is picking a victim. So what I'll usually do is pull out a card. I'll pick a student. I'll ask them a question over something we just learned to do. Usually I have the sentence frames on the board for them. I'll ask a question. The student gets the answer. Then they get to turn around and pick a volunteer or a victim, really. And that person answers a question. Once that person answers, they pick a volunteer. Yeah, it doesn't sound nice to say victim, but it really is. And then that goes around for a little bit. So that's just another way, because usually the students will pick someone I wouldn't pick. Usually the one who doesn't want to talk because they know. But they're really lighthearted with it. They enjoy being able to pick each other rather than me. And there have been days where they wanted to completely pretend like they were the teacher. They got up in the front of the class, they said their answer, and then they picked from up there, which I thought was absolutely funny the first time it happened. But hey, I'll share space with you as long as you're speaking Spanish. So those, again, are the ways that I have increased participation in my class. So going from least used to most used, the roster, least used, but still an effective piece of the class. And then my little index cards for cold calling. You don't get a choice whether you answer. I'm calling on you every day with these cards, and they know it. And then my pesos. Love these guys. They love them too. They love to spend them. And then, I forgot to mention, I do have a class store where they can buy things with these. So most of the time they use them for extra credit on a test or a quiz. I'm max 3 to 5 points. I'm not going to have their whole grade be pesos. But I do have things that they can buy with them, and they like doing that too. And then the last and my favorite lately is the stamp sheet, because I have gotten so much participation off of this. So if you would like, I will leave a link down in the bottom for the free copy of my stamp sheet. I'll also try to remember to leave the link for the stamp, because I just think this is really cool. I just love having my name on something. And then for the pesos, I also have, you can receive a paper with my copy of the pesos. So there's a ton of them on one page. I just copy them off on colored paper. So I'll leave those things down in the description for you if you want to take advantage of any of those. But I hope this has helped you with some ideas to get your kids more involved in class and get those hands raised, especially when you're being evaluated. You don't want the crickets, let me tell you. So if you have found something useful in this, if you would click the like button, if you would subscribe, I am going to be giving teacher tips like this, lesson plan ideas, just showing you some of the different things that I do in class, and maybe some organizational ideas, different things to help you in your teacher life. All right. Adios, guys. Hi. Yeah, that didn't work. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sinye.